Hi, thank you for joining us. Welcome to another installment of our post-secondary info series. I'm here to, let me introduce myself. My name is Richard Vallejo. I am Virtual High School's Student Service Representative. And I am here today with our friend Paul Wilton from King's at Western. And he's going to be talking to us a little bit about the programs that you offer at King's. Maybe you're out there looking to find a program specifically, don't know what university to go to. Perhaps King's is a good option for you. So Paul Wilton, who's the Admissions and Liaison Officer at King's, is going to tell us about the different programs that are offered at King's. And what I'm actually the most curious about is your relation with Western. So I wondered, Paul, if you could start with how that works and maybe educate me a little bit about that.
Sure. Well, it's a pretty common question that we get, especially from outside the London area. And the London area, we're really well known, have great relationships in the community, a lot of alumni who've gone there. So people are pretty familiar with us. But outside of the area, because we're a smaller institution, people may not be as familiar with King's. And one of the reasons they may not be as familiar is because our King's students are Western students. So you may sometimes meet somebody who's gone to King's who identifies themselves as a Western grad.
Makes sense.
So when we talk to students about what King's is and they're feeling a little bit confused, the key takeaway that we ask them to have is the best of both worlds. So that's a phrase we like to use to describe getting all of the advantages of going to Western, but in a smaller living and learning environment. So most importantly, students get the Western degree. We know it's a degree that you can go anywhere in Canada or anywhere internationally, and it's recognized, it's reputable.
Right.
People know you had to have high academic achievement to get it.
Right.
The second advantage of being at King's is that you have access to all of Western's courses. So being that we're a smaller campus, if you find courses we don't offer, up to 40% of your classes each year can be at the other campuses at Western.
Okay.
And then finally, the students are Western Mustangs, so they have access to any of the facilities, services, or extracurriculars at the main campus.
Wonderful. Now, and I've had the privilege of driving by, obviously the Western campus is beautiful, but specifically the King's campus as well, a great architecture in the buildings and everything. I think it's really neat. But I wondered if you could tell us a little bit about the specific courses that are native to King's specifically, not necessarily offered at Western.
Yeah, so I mean, I kind of started off by telling you all the great things about Western, but it's important to know what also makes King's special. And one of the things that makes us special is just that small community feel. So it's a small student population and small class sizes. And the classes that we offer are primarily liberal arts.
Okay.
So subjects in the social sciences, humanities, and business. And then we have some unique programs that you won't find at the other campuses at Western and may not find at other Canadian universities. So we offer both the Bachelor of Social Work and the Masters of Social Work. We're one of a few schools in Ontario to offer both. A program called Childhood and Social Institutions, Social Justice and Peace Studies, Global Commerce, and we have a Foundations Year in Western Thought and Civilization.
Wonderful. Great. Now, just random question here about how many students are attending King's College specifically?
Yeah, we have about 3,500 full-time students.
So it is that close community that you're talking about there.
Exactly,
Wonderful.
Yeah. What we hear from students is they keep on having a lot of the same people in their classes, so they get comfortable really quickly. They have a lot of interaction with their professor, and it's just a really friendly place. I mean, you kind of drove through, but if ever you get out and walk around campus, you notice people are kind of always saying hi to each other, and you're going, they can't possibly know all of these people. It's just a really friendly place, and you kind of always bump into someone that you know.
Wonderful. That's good to know. Now, Virtual High School has a huge population of international students, and in fact, it's growing often. So I wondered what maybe you can speak a little bit about the King's and what they offer as far as support for international students?
Sure. Well, King's is really proud of our diversity. It's really been an effort of ours to make sure that we have diverse classrooms, because we think that's when the best learning happens, when we have people from various backgrounds and experiences coming together in discussion-based learning. So we have purposely increased our international population. I think we're at about 22% international students now. And of course, that means that we've developed our services for international students at the same time. So basically everything from assisting students by providing advice on obtaining their visa and living arrangements to services for English as a second language learners, bridging programs. We have the bridging program before the orientation week where people who are new to Canada, we help them become comfortable with the London environment and our campus before jumping into their studies in first year. And then we have our international office, which is fully staffed with 3 staff members and available door open all the time for international students to come with any issues they're having to get advice throughout the year.
Perfect. Now, bring it into mentality how huge Western University is as a whole, and then you're talking about having 3 full-time staff for that. That makes it kind of comfortable if you have any questions, especially as an international student. That open door policy kind of means a lot more, right? You can walk in, they know you, you remember them.
For sure. Well, available. I mean, you just think you're in a new country, and you're trying to figure out things, and it's nice to have that face and name that you have a relationship with, that you feel comfortable with, that you can constantly go back and see for assistance throughout your 4 years.
Yeah, perfect. No, that's great. Now, with the many students that we have, obviously being a completely online school, they're already kind of used to that venue. Does King's at Western offer any sort of distance learning or online courses?
A little bit. I mean, we're primarily a campus that you attend to earn your degree. We're not designed to be an online university. However, that said, there are some online offerings, particularly in summer. Through Western, a lot of the summer courses are offered, and we have some offered through King's as well. In our thanatology program, quite a few of the courses are offered online. But other than that, we're primarily a campus where students attend in person.
Perfect. Well, it sounds like that's how you would get the full experience anyway.
For sure.
The online courses would be just for added flexibility.
You've got it.
Yeah, wonderful. Now, you were talking to me before we started this that you also attended King's College and you studied there. Could you tell us a little bit about your personal experience?
Yeah. When I went to university, I was from the London area, and I really was totally uninformed when I chose King's. The only reason that I chose it was because I had some older friends who had gone there who really seemed to be enjoying it and having fun. But I didn't know much else. So I kind of just chose King's based on that. But luckily, it ended up being probably the best uninformed decision of my life.
Good.
I was a pretty shy and grumpy high school student, and I kind of thought I was just going to go to class, do my work, and get out of there as quickly as possible. But there's just something special about King's that kind of motivates you to get socially and academically engaged. I actually ended up raising my average from high school to university. I think part of it was being in that supportive environment where you have more choice in terms of your courses and having that support from your professors.
Yeah, wonderful. No, it sounds great. You brought up another question that's commonly asked by our students are averages for the programs.
Yes.
Now, you talked about it earlier already. I mean, Western has high standards, which is great.
Yes.
And you're kind of meeting the same standards. But what would you tell a student that asks, what are your criteria?
Yeah, so for Ontario students, what we're looking for is 79% on their top 6 4U or 4M grades, including English. And that's consistent for all of our programs except for management and organizational studies, where we're looking for 79% still, but we include 2 grade 12 university level math credits in that calculation. We prefer if students have calculus when they come to us, if they plan on studying management or economics. They can get into our program without it, but it means that they have to take a grade 12 equivalent in their first semester with us.
Okay. No, that makes sense. Now, you're talking to students who may already be in grade 12 or are finishing right now their 6 4U or 4M credits, maybe didn't score so highly. And being that virtual high school offers a lot of flexibility, a lot of students end up repeating a course so that they can kind of boost their average. How does King's at Western kind of look at a student who has repeated, say, ENG 4U?
Yeah. Well, our position is that we want students who have perseverance and who are prepared to be successful in university. So it's not always a straight path. Sometimes it's kind of meandering. And when a student has the stick-to-itiveness to to upgrade the marks to get what they need, we're perfectly accepting of that. We'll take the greatest of the grades if you've repeated courses, and there's no negative repercussion for having repeated courses.
Good to know, and that kind of shows the perseverance of the student, right?
Right.
Not being down whenever they didn't meet the mark the first time. So that's good to know for us and for our students. Wonderful. Now, another question that's kind of tied to marks is financial aid, scholarships that you have available. What's available for a student that maybe does have the mark or needs some motivation to have a good mark as far as scholarships at King's?
Yeah, well, we really believe that education should be a tool for social and economic justice.
Sure.
And I think that's reflected in our entrance scholarships. So our entrance scholarships start at a little bit lower of a threshold than a lot of universities in Ontario. So they start at an 80% average on those admissions grades, and 80% will get you $1,500. And those increments, there's increments, the higher your marks are, the more money you get, up to a 95 average, which gets you $3,500. For students studying arts and humanities with us who are interested in programs like philosophy, world religions, English, Spanish, French, Catholic studies for teachers, those students can qualify for even more money. So 80% gets you $3,000.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Great. And then, of course, like you said, more the higher your marks are, too. So it's great motivation for our students. I don't know if you know this, Paul, but we offer 24/7 online tutoring.
Yes.
So our students that are here have a good incentive and the tools they need, I think, to really succeed in their courses.
Well, two other things I'll tell you on that. For any students upgrading math, if you have over 84.5% in 2 grade 12 university level math courses, it's an extra $500 on top of your entrance scholarship. And I lost my other point.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah,
and all the information on scholarships is available on the website as well, right?
You've got it.
And they can reach out there to make sure. But it always pays to work hard through high school and make sure you're studying.
I've got it now.
There you go.
So some students upgrade to get the marks for admission. But we see lots of students who upgrade their marks through an institution like Virtual High School to increase their scholarship amount. So maybe they finish with a 79% on their top 6 marks. They go take an online course because they want to get that 80% so they can get the $1,500.
Sure.
So there's some calculations to be done on the student's part as a risk benefit, but that's something we have no problem with as well.
Right. Obviously, your repeated course policy supports them being able to do that, and that's good initiative on the students to be able to take that. That's great. Now, how you touch base a little bit on the programs that you offer. Which would you say characterize King's at Western, or maybe as their more prestigious, the most sought after courses or programs?
Well, I think that all of our programs are of an academically rigorous level. And I think all of the students will come out changed as people, better prepared for careers, better prepared for graduate school for having done them. I can tell you that our programs in terms of the most enrollment would be management and organizational studies.
Okay.
The second one would be sociology/criminology. In terms of programs that I think are kind of unique at King's, well, a little bit unique, I should say, and that we're very well known for, we have a highly respected social work program. The reason that I think it's highly respected is because it's practice intensive. The students get 700 hours of placement time in 3rd and 4th year working in the field as part of their Bachelor of Social Work, which is the degree that you need to practice social work in Canada. The other thing about that program is we have partnerships with 150 community organizations. When you ask about the word prestige and respect, to me, that number of partnerships is an indication of the level of respect the program has, that community agencies are eager to have our students in because they know they can help with the populations that they serve.
Yeah, wonderful. Actually, that was going to be one of my other questions. If you're preparing students for the real world there, the practical aspects of applying what you've learned is great. So talking about co-ops, is it just in this program that co-ops are somewhat available, or those opportunities to physically apply what you're learning?
We've been working very hard to make sure experiential learning is a part of as many of our programs as possible. I'll highlight some examples. Yes, there's social work where there's the practicum as part of it. There's management and organizational studies where there's internship opportunities available. We're really proud of a couple experiential learning courses that we offer in the summer each year. We have courses in Italy and Ghana through our political science and social justice and peace studies programs. We have a course on the Arizona-Mexico border where people are looking at issues around migration and border security, talking to border services workers, talking to migrants, talking to residents in the area to understand the issues more deeply. Within the London community, we have a Women in Civic Leadership class where we pair up young women with leaders at the municipal, provincial, or federal level, and they have a one-on-one mentoring relationship for the term where they work on a project for the advancement of women together. Great. And right now, you've seen all the election signs around. Yes. We have a cool course called Campaign School where students study best practices in elections, the purpose of elections, and then they go out and observe a campaign and then write about their experience when they're done.
Wonderful. Yeah, certainly very practical applications there. I got two more questions for you. Now we've talked about the academics of it. Now we're talking about like physical, the college and the life as a university student.
Yeah.
What do you got to say about residentials for students? Are they maybe guaranteed for first year students? Yes. How does that work?
Residence is guaranteed for first year students as long as you apply before the June 1st deadline. Okay. We also guarantee that if you request to live with somebody else and they request to live with you, that you can live together. We have 3 residences on the King's campus. So if you're a King's student, you live on our campus. And it just so happens that different people seem to like different ones of the residences for different reasons. So last year, I think about 90% of students got their first choice of residence at
perfect.
King's.
Wonderful. That's a high number.
Yep.
That's great. Now, specifically, you were talking about you being a student at King's and how it opened you up academically, but also kind of interactions with others as far as extracurricular. And that's a great part about university life, as all of us here that have attended post-secondary, is the extracurricular activities that are available on the campus. Right. Tell us a little bit about those.
Well, I mean, that question goes back to the best of both worlds. So you have the opportunity to participate in anything at Western or anything at King's. So I think there's over 150 clubs at Western, over 80 clubs at King's. That means 2 student governments you can choose from. Participate in Western's varsity sports if you want to. Intramurals. We have a great choir on our campus that's really well known in the London area. We have an improv group. Western, I believe, has the largest orientation week in Canada. And there's lots of charity work going on as well through Western Serve. So lots of ways to get involved. We know that students are more likely to be successful in their academics in post-secondary when they feel a connection to their institution.
For sure.
So we encourage all students to participate in at least one student activity. We don't want students to overwhelm themselves and try to do everything and take away from what they can dedicate in class. But we really do believe it. Only a certain percentage of learning in university happens in the classroom. A lot of it happens outside of it. So we're really proud to offer those opportunities.
Great. That's a wonderful practice. Thank you so much for talking to us about the opportunities at King's at Western. If you have any more questions, maybe a question that we didn't ask, you can comment on this video and we'll make sure that gets answered maybe by Paul or someone at King's, and we'll send that information out to you. If you're not following us on Facebook already or Instagram, make sure you follow us and you can stay in touch with when the next info series is going to be. Thank you for joining us.